Robert Akers, you're the ones. You make news time also fun. Robert Akers, Manny Moonrakers making fun of you. Hey, Kermit the Frog here, and you are listening to Manny on UFO Buster Radio Network. Yay!
This is Sparta! Fatality.
I think it might be time to work on a new intro. Though I love that one very much because it feels like I'm going to war. It feels like I'm going to start some shit here, and that's what UFO Buster Radio News is all about. We talk the shit, and sometimes we start some, and sometimes we just continue it, spread it all around, make sure everybody gets a little bit of it. This is episode number 381. And it is Wednesday, so we're going to talk about space. I figured you can't do back-to-back UFO news because the shit doesn't happen back-to-back. It really doesn't. It takes time to build up to abductions. It takes time to get to the point where people have sightings. And at least the kind of sightings that people give two flying Fs about. Not everyone cares about every sighting. That's just the way it is. Some sightings just happen just for fuck's sake because people have pareidolia, and that's the way it goes down. So Wednesdays is Space Day. And we're going to talk about the latest news that has shown up on the scene on the internet. But if you want to not wait for this conversation, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Saturday, the Dark Core. There's days in between, there's hours in between. You can stay on top of this by joining Discord and staying part of the conversation with myself and the rest of the guys that you hear about. Which incidentally, tomorrow, in the episode for tomorrow, in that description, I am going to share the YouTube videos, their links, the things that the guys that you hear me talk about all the time in the live chat box, that they're putting together on YouTube, and you can see them. And there is one video that I kind of snuck into. We talked about that yesterday, not going to mention it again. But check it out. Come join Discord. Don't be afraid. We give no fucks, of course, but we treat everyone in there with respect. And if we get a troll, they gets the boots. Bye. Sayonara. Ciao. Okay, one last thing. On Saturday, Chris Garcia is back, 9 p.m. Central, the Dark Horde podcast. We're going to see if we can find the future of some of the folks that call in. We're going to record it for prosperity. Because I don't know about you guys, but when I used to watch like psychic shows on TV, they would always say, when people would get that reading and they were like, no, that's not me. No, that never happened to me. They would always say, well, keep it in mind. Write it down. Put it down somewhere. Play back this episode. And more often than not, the people will come back and say, oh, that actually was me. I went home and there it was. I just forgot all about it. Because I'm a dingle dork. Yeah, so things like that. Things to keep in mind when we talk to Chris, when he shows up and he lets us know what's what in your future, if you care to know. I'm sure he's just not going to be spouting stuff out there. And by the way, we're going to talk to him. One of my questions for him is this whole COVID-19 thing. Not so much about where is it going. We know where the fuck it's going, right? But what's next? What's going to happen after the coronavirus is done? What's the next big thing? Because, the murder hornets, they try to sneak in there. They got, no, sorry. But then social injustice reared its ugly head. And so the hornets just disappeared. Like no one's even talking about the murder hornets anymore. I saw a picture somewhere, like a meme, that the next big thing coming over the horizon was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It's very possible. I don't know. What is next? I have a feeling that psychics know. Psychics, they have an idea of what's going to go down next. Because it was Sylvia Browne who actually predicted COVID-19 before she died in a book. So we're going to see. We're going to put Chris to the test. And if you're listening, Chris, you better get ready. You better go and meditate from now until Saturday and get your juju on, because we want to know. We want to know what's coming next. We don't want to be surprised about stuff like that. We really don't. Gotta say what's up to Green Man. He is in the live chat already. Green Man's another one. You will see him in some of those video links that I'm going to share tomorrow. And then one last thing. I said that someone on YouTube made some comments about episode 209 about a gentleman that had an experience out in Scotland. I listened to the whole fucking episode. I didn't say anything wrong. Of course, I was joking around about it. It doesn't mean I don't believe it. Let me just clear that for you guys. Just because I kid around about it, did you see? I need Kermit to get that that disclaimer at the beginning of the podcast. Kermit, if you're listening, UFO Buster Radio is a satirical podcast about UFOs, ufology, space, and is done with a comic bent to it. But it does not mean that I do not believe in the topic. It doesn't mean that I think that every single abduction story is a bunch of BS. I mean, for fuck's sake, I talked about alien sex yesterday. Really? Come on. Cut me some slack, will ya? We're going to get to these three news reports. Really fascinating. The last one is probably going to be the beginning of a bit of a war for SpaceX in the space race. I could see this building up into a serious issue for good old buddy Elon. So we got 3 articles related to space and recent space news. I found the trick to finally get the research that I do to give me stuff that's current. You know, I don't want things from 2-3 weeks ago anymore. Because I find that, and this happens with UFO stories all the time. Like you get a story, it's about 3 weeks old, and someone decides like a month later, they want to report it as brand new information, and you're just repeating the same shit over and over. But that's not going to happen for this week. We've got something. When I saw this article, I was like, oh shit, Nibiru is here. This is what's going to destroy our planet. Finally, all this search in deep space, and the damn thing is right there in front of us, and we watch it all the time on the damn telescopes. Titan is drifting away from Saturn 100 times faster than we thought. When you put the word or the number 100 in front, 100 times faster is not a smidgen. You know, it's not like a little move. It's like 2 times faster. That shit's not going fucking anywhere, to be honest. 10 times? Oh, okay. It's picking up a little bit of speed, but still, you could imagine when we're talking at the size of the solar system, that's not a whole fucking lot, to be honest. But when someone says it's moving 100 times faster, red alert. There is something that we need to pay attention to here. Titan is moving away from Saturn's grip. And you would think that this is alarming. To me it is. I thought it was, but it isn't. According to this study, the largest moon, which apparently when it was formed, it was really close to Titan, and now all of a sudden it sits 746,000 miles away from the planet. And for Dre, whenever he listens to this, that equals to 1.2 million kilometers, because I know he likes me to use that. He does, you know, he's branching out in his math, okay? That's all I'm saying. So the damn thing's moved quite a fucking lot over the years, right? But it took about 4.5 billion years for it to do that. 4.5 billion years. So, but all of a sudden, they're studying it. It's like, I swear, there's got to be a study for everything in the solar system and beyond. This is how people stay employed. This is why there still is such a thing as an astronomer, because there are so many studies. I don't understand how to keep this shit straight. There is something going on between Titan and Saturn that's a little weird. And I think the issue, what this paper is trying to tell us, is that Saturn is a bit gassy. So Titan's moving away. I would too. Like whenever Bugs cracks one, I move away. Unfortunately, I'm not able to get away every single time, but I can understand why these two are moving away from each other. It makes a ton of sense. But there's something else going on. Apparently, Titan's gravitational pull or influence on Saturn makes Saturn oscillate. And this is causing a rift in between the two. And so in this argument of oscillation between Titan and Saturn, Titan decided, I'm packing my shit and I'm leaving. Not leaving very fast. Titan right now, it's kind of like that person that you invite over and they say, hey, I need a few days to stay here. You know, and 4.5 billion years later, the fucker is still sitting around. They might have moved closer to the door, but they're still there, eating all your cheese, drinking all your coffee. This is what's happening here. It's not that all of a sudden somebody put the fucking moon on turbo boost and it's going hog wild and it's going to have a crazy trajectory through the entire solar system and end up crashing into the planet Earth. Nope. Unfortunately, that's not what it is. I mean, not that I want to die or anything like that, but what a sight that would be. So nothing to worry about, because the actual measurement that they took initially when they were studying this was that Saturn and Titan were splitting up by about 0.04 inches a year. And for Dre, 0.1 centimeter. Get the fucking planet and a moon. Who the fuck cares? That's hardly nothing. That's why the shit took 4.5 billion years to begin with. How does this make the news? Now you're saying, well, they did say 100 times. Well, indeed. The most recent study is saying that it is now a whopping, and I'm quoting this, it's a whopping 4.3 inches a year, and for Dre, 11 centimeters. This is what this article was about. It kind of had me freaked out all of a sudden, right? 100 times the speed. What? This fucking thing is going to go like freaking careen right through the solar system. Now, probably, maybe in another, 14 billion years. It's crazy how they take these topics and these situations, this math, and they make it seem like the end of the solar system is right at hand. It's about to go down, and we are too fucked to realize that it's going to take 20 billion years for this to happen. There won't even be a humanity around by then, to be honest. Just forget about it. A couple more folks are in the live chat. We got Gooter, Pucky, Dre showed up. I know he's pulling out that calculator, man. He loves them centimeters. There's more to the article and a better explanation than what I get, because the shit that I give you is high level. There's more to the interplay between Titan and Saturn and how this is just getting out of hand. And it's kind of weird for me. Well, I guess it really isn't, because our moon does have an effect on our planet, but the fact that that moon makes Saturn oscillate is pretty significant. But that's what happens when you're a little gassy. You know what I'm saying?
money?
Don't fucking scream at me.
Where's
you
the money?
Dumb fuck you. Look at you with your fucking 48% body fat and...
Like, I think that some of these little clips that I play, I wanted to play like when I'm walking into a place, kind of like a wrestler's intro. Like I walk into place and you hear Arnold say all that crazy shit. I just love it. It's just funny as hell. I probably get kicked out though, but yeah, that's a chance I've got to take. And I guess Dre is over there. He's getting that math down, but the missus says no. Fractions is the way to go. Astronomers discover star and planet strikingly similar to the sun and the earth. Wow, that's fantastic. My voice is a little hoarse right now. I'm drinking this soda. No alcohol, sorry, I'm sober. Called Stevia. Tastes like ass. Not that I've tasted ass, but this is what ass would taste like. And ginger ass, too. So some redheaded ass, to be honest. It's pretty nasty. Anyway, so... This news report is brought to you by Adam Baum. Adam Baum sent this to me, I think it was yesterday, but I'm sober, like I said, so my memory fails me. Adam Baum said, hey, did you hear about this planet that's like your planet that we're on? And it's fairly close. Actually, I think he called it an analog planet, and I can't find anything about it being analog. I'd rather be digital, to be honest. It turns out, again, we have found another planet that's sitting in the Goldilocks zone. For those of you who don't know, take a moment, take in the air, wherever you're at. If you're at the sweatshop, smell your pits if you need to. If you're sitting outside by the beach, you are sitting in the Goldilocks zone. If you're out walking your dog, picking up that last piece of turd, you've picked it up in the Goldilocks zone. Right. Starlink is in the Goldilocks zone. I could go on with this if I can. I'm telling you, no shit. The moon is in the Goldilocks zone. Basically, the Goldilocks zone is any damn planet, anywhere, that sits about the same distance from the sun as we are right now. Goldilocks meaning, hey, more than likely, there's going to be life forming here at one fucking time or another if everything is pretty similar. Like the sun has to be pretty similar, things like that, you know. Let's get over the scientific shit and let's move on. So they found this one, and it's sitting over at a familiar sun, very similar to ours at the moment, Kepler-160, the planet, which is known as a candidate because they really haven't they kind of found it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not even going to lie. This is almost like, it's a bit premature. You know, it's kind of like a wet dream article because they really haven't officially found it. They found it, but they haven't. Yeah. Sorry, but I'm not. Sorry, not sorry. That's where they're at right now. So KOI 456.04 is what they're calling it at the moment. And so basically they believe that this the yet to be confirmed planet is in the Goldilocks zone for Kepler-160, which is, believe it or not, just 3,000 light years away. Only 3,000 light years. I'll be honest with you guys. Every time I bring these stories up about these people identifying atmospheres and oxygen and all this other bullshit, usually, you know, they're like 29,000 billion gajillion miles away. And you wonder, how the fuck can they do that? You guys just figured out 2 days ago that the damn moon from Saturn is moving 100 times faster. But you're going to go 1 trillion miles away and say, there's oxygen over there. Get the fuck out of here. So 3,000 light years, it's pretty good, right? So basically, when we're looking at this KOI 456.04, we're looking 3,000 years in the past. Yeah. So we could even say it's BC, before Christ. It's what we're looking at. 3,000 years in the past. We might be seeing some crazy shit from our own past. What if us and them developed around the same time, then we're looking at their past. We're looking at our past almost 3,000 years before. I know, no fucks are given. Who really knows? So altogether, this Kepler has already found a little over 4,000 satellites outside of the solar system. That's a lot of fucking planets out there. But a lot of them are really fucking far. But this one is fairly close. And apparently, not only does this particular star, which is also similar to our planet, not only does it have one Earth-like planet, it doesn't have two. I feel like the count right now. 3, 4. It has four planets that could show to be, once confirmed, to have the potential to host life. I think it's fantastic, but I still don't understand why the fuck are they so far. I mean, aren't there solar systems like close to each other out there? You know, like you just pop out of one and go into the other. They do that shit in the movies all the time. That's a weird thing for me. Why is it that this solar system is so isolated from all the other ones? That is why people say that we are in some kind of a matrix, that none of it is real. It's a simulation put together by aliens. You know, some shit like that. Just the way we're isolated is it's so unnerving at times, to be honest. But anyway, Kepler 160, they're going to continue their search, and they're going to take some other telescopes around the planet to confirm the existence of that planet, and hopefully, eventually, we'll get some answers. I mean, 3,000 years, you really can't send them a message, right? Because in 3,000 years, we might not even be here. There's probably a good chance of that. But fuck, what can you do? At least you know it's there. I mean, you'd have to find something that travels faster than light, FTL, to even get a message to that place before we're all dead. So, yeah, we'll have to see how it goes. One more article, and yeah, it's just a doozy. By the way, I failed to mention that the image for this episode is actually a comparison of the planet Earth and the 4 other planets that are rumored to be around Kepler 160. That is an artist's rendition of it. And so check that out. So I came across this article today because it is space, so why not have one about SpaceX? You know, Elon, he's all about space. Everything is Elon. Everything is space. It goes together. It really does, like peanut butter and jelly. You can't have space anymore without Elon. Like, literally, half the articles that I went through regarding space had Elon, SpaceX in there somewhere. There's even one which I felt no fucks about, where apparently the astronomers are getting together with SpaceX and they're still making deals about those Starlink satellites and making sure they don't impact science. Whatever. Figure it out. But this one, not only does it have to do with Elon, it also has to do with Russia. Apparently, at the time that the Crew Dragon successfully took off, you know, Crew Dragon, Falcon 9, put together, looks like a phallus. So when it took off and it made it to the ISS, apparently the Russians were like really cool about it. You know, they were like, yay, fantastic. But that didn't last long. Really, it didn't. Because someone opened their Tesla mouth, basically. It's been about, almost 10 days, according to this article, since the launch of the SpaceX Crew Dragon, also known now as Endeavour, because why not use the same fucking names over and over again, NASA? Come on, give me something new. God, call it bitch face or something, I don't know. Tattoo face, that's a good name. Anyway, so Endeavour made it, what have you, and so the Russians apparently have mixed reactions to this. Like I said, initially, they were cool. There's some quotes in here from the Ruskies, and they were like almost congratulatory. And believe it or not, on Twitter, what the fuck is it with everybody being on Twitter? It is crazy. But something went down back in 2014, and it had to do with the Russians going after Ukraine. So there was, you guys remember that, all over the news, right? You know, the Russians are going in there like, fuck, we don't give a fuck about what? Boots on the ground, sending in tanks, all kind of shit. They didn't give a damn, right? So apparently after that, during that incident, there was a statement made by the Russians because the United States was looking to put sanctions against Russia because of the aggression into the Ukraine. This fucking story is going way back. But according to this, the Russians responded to the sanctions, specifically Dmitry Rogozin, who is the head of the Russian Space Corporation, whatever the fuck that is. And what he said at the time was that if they wanted to put these sanctions on them, then the United States could use trampolines in order to get their astronauts into space. This is coming from the whole situation that the space shuttle program ended, and so there was no way to get people into space. So what did they do? They started using the Soyuz capsules, which were costing the United States a mere $90 million a trip. Or, I'm sorry, per person. Not just a trip, per person. When the Endeavour Crew Dragon Flying Penis took off and made it to where it had to go, Elon Musk said this: the trampoline is working. This was quickly picked up by the Russians. And, of course, they responded in kind. They did. The first message that they sent was, please convey my sincere greetings to Elon Musk. I loved his joke. No, you didn't. And SpaceX team, looking forward to future cooperation. They don't give no fucks about cooperation. Come on. Stop this shit, Dimitri. Come on. But then later on, people started talking shit about it, right? Because they're like, oh, in your face. In your face. Elon just went all up in your face. And, you know, I understand where Elon is coming from, right? Because, you know, you just imagine you're like a proud dad or a proud mom, and your little kid finally, your little boy or girl finally takes that first dump in the toilet, you know? Your mom cries, it starts cheering, and, you know, the dad walks around like for a whole fucking week saying, hey, you took a dump in the toilet finally. You know, that's my kid. That's my son. That's my girl. So this is the way Elon is. He's like all proud and shit, you know? He's like, Endeavor is done. Time to go over to Starship. But the Russians didn't like it. And it's the same fucking guy, Dmitry. He still has the issue with it. So later on, he started talking shit. He said this, Elon Musk did not bring us down. He brought down his compatriots from Boeing, passing them with the beginning of the flight tests. The fuck are you talking about? And then he says the war is theirs, but not ours. I don't know. The fact is that the Russians just now, just because that Endeavour capsule made it, they've lost a shit ton of money. We're talking about millions. At the moment, the Crew Dragon is costing NASA $55 million per seat. So the Russians have lost $35 million per seat to SpaceX. There is going to be some problems here. I can see it already. It's going to be nuts. According to the Russians, the money that was being paid to them was actually honest money. It was earned honestly, and they said they were not price gouging the United States at all. Yeah, whatever. You guys are full of shit. It seems to me that there's going to be a continued war of words, which are going to increase if that fucking Starship in Boca Chica, Texas, actually goes and flies some fucking where. That is the crowning jewel for everything that SpaceX wants to do. And the shit keeps blowing the fuck up. I hope that Starship or SN5, SN6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whichever the one it takes, that silver phallus makes it into the sky, comes back down safely, and we can get this shit rolling. Because Boeing and everyone else is asleep at the wheel, and only SpaceX is going to complete the dream. At least that's my opinion. You guys might have some other opinion about the whole SpaceX thing, but right now they're the only ones that are making it work. So this is the end of the podcast. It's a little short. I got company from out of town, ladies and gentlemen, and there is a gigantic gallon of Apple Crown waiting for me. That's why I'm sober right now. I've got to go catch up. But don't forget about Saturday. Tomorrow, I will be playing that video from episode 209 because it's a cool video, to be honest. We have the experiencer from Scotland, but we also have his wife talking on the video. We're going to play that track tomorrow, and then we're going to freak out about it. We're going to see what the guys in the live chat have to say. Do they believe the story? Is it real? Did this really happen to this old guy? And how many of them really believe that was one of those situations that is up there with like Travis Walton, just like in Scotland though? We'll find out. I thank you guys tons for listening and staying awake. At this time, I bid you adieu.